Are you tired of flipping through YouTube with nothing to watch? Are you trying to get help with your audio and visual products but can't find the answers? Aren't you tired of boring videos that put you to sleep with terms you may not even understand? Well, head over to Kpaceguy and subscribe today. No more boring videos. No more uninteresting terminology. No more searching for the answers to the things that you need. These videos will have you setting up your home system like a pro, and it's absolutely free. I love Kpaceguy.
Subscribe today.
Perfect.
Yo, Kpaceguy here. What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today I just want to talk about some simple tips to think about when you're going to set up or create or build your first home theater. So this may not apply to everybody, but there may be a few things that I say that you may have not taken into consideration. But this is more towards the people who are just starting off in home theater and don't really know where to start. So we're going to get right into it. So when you're building your home theater, the first thing you really want to think about is, what kind of configuration are you going to run? Are you going to run a 5.1, a 7.1? Are you going to try for Dolby Atmos and DTS:X? What are you going to do? You really got to think about the room that you're in. If you have a big room, then you might think about doing a 7.1, 7.2, a 7.2.4, 7.2.2 with the Dolby Atmos integration inside the room. You might want to think about that kind of stuff just to help with the overall immersion. If you're going to have a lot of people in your room, you may want to have a 7.1 just to fill some gaps in the seating area so everybody's immersed. But if you're in a small room or an apartment or a bedroom, you may want to stick with a 5.2 or a 5.2.2 or something a little more reserved that makes sense for your room. So when you're out there looking for receivers and speakers, hold on just a minute and think to yourself, what am I even going to do with my room? What kind of configuration am I even looking at? Do I have the space for a 7.1, 7.2 system? Or do I have the space that makes more sense for a 5 or 5.2.2? Another really helpful tip that I'm going to give to you guys is to pick speakers that make sense for your room. And we all have a budget. It's higher than others, some are lower than others. Some want bookshelf speakers, some want floor standing speakers, some want satellite speakers. And the reason why we have this many different types of speakers is because we have to cater to the room that we're in. Big speakers don't necessarily perform very well in small rooms. And some may argue with me, but in my own listening room and in my own experiences, big speakers, whether it's subwoofers or tower speakers, they just did not sound good in a big room, and in a small room. But when I brought them into a bigger room, they started to open up a lot more. And a room plays a big difference on the acoustic properties of that speaker. And you want to really get a speaker that's going to make sense in your room. You don't want to get little satellite speakers in a room that's huge when you could get big speakers to really fill up that space. Now, some small speakers, bookshelves or satellites, they may be able to produce enough sound to cover a big area or a big room. Like, for example, Bose uses small jewels and small satellite speakers to fill up a big space to cut down on the overall footprint of the system. And sure, they do get loud and they play well, but that really works the subwoofer really hard because there is no bass reproduction from those small speakers. They really need some help. So when you get bigger floor-standing speakers or beefy bookshelf speakers, they're going to reproduce bass a lot more, which is really what you really need in a bigger room, is more bass, because that bass is going to dissipate as it travels. You need it to be able to cover a wide area evenly. So when you're getting speakers, get speakers that make sense for your room. If you have a small room, maybe look at a bookshelf speaker or a small floor-standing speaker, or maybe even a good pair of satellites to run in your front system. You may find that be a lot better than getting a big speaker just because your room is too small. And then vice versa, if you're in a big room, try to go for a bigger speaker. I know we have our budgets, but try to find a speaker that's going to be good, because even though you have your budget, you don't want to have to go back and return it for something else. You want to get something that you're going to like the first time. So definitely look into speakers that make sense for your listening area. Now, speakers are super important, obviously, in your home theater, but what's just as important is going to be that AV receiver. Pick a receiver that's going to make sense for your speakers. Now, your speakers, you may have 80 watts per channel, 100 watts per channel, whatever you need. You gotta have a receiver that's going to supply enough power. And if not, you're going to need a second component, whether it be external amplifier, or AV processor. Those things you have to think about when you're going out on the market to buy a receiver. Pick your speaker that you think you want and then match a receiver to it. If you're running a 5.2.4 or you want to run a 5.2.4, you have to find a receiver that can do that. Now, some receivers can, but they may need an external amplifier. Some do, some don't. So you have to read up on your information and make sure that what you're getting is what you actually need. You may find a receiver that has 5.2.4 but has a whole bunch of other features that you're not looking for. But you may save some money and find something that's a little bit lower as far as cost goes and still get that 5.2.4. So there's a lot of receivers on the market that generally do all the same thing. But the biggest differences that you're going to find in a receiver is going to be the calibration type, whether it's Odyssey, ACC, YPOW, ARC, Anthem room correction, whatever you guys are thinking about. That's going to be one thing that's different. Watts per channel is kind of going to be different between the brands, and then how they sound. Some are warm, some are neutral, some are a little bit forgiving. You really have to, do your research when you're out there looking for a receiver. Make sure you find a receiver that can do all the channels that you're asking for. If you're not wanting to use a receiver because you have an external amplifier already or are looking to get an external amplifier, you may want to look into an AV processor. And an AV processor is pretty much the same thing as a receiver, just without the amplification built inside. So if you're using external amps like a Emotiva or a Monolith or an Outlaw, you may be able to just use that and then give an AV processor to just process your AV video, your audio and your video, send that to the amplifier, send it to the TV, and that's all it has to do. You may want to look into an AV processor. If you're not into getting externals, if you don't want to have a whole bunch of components in your home theater, you want a more minimalistic kind of setup, then definitely look at just getting a basic AV receiver. That may be your best bet. But nonetheless, do your research and pick a receiver that's going to work best with your speakers as far as power, impedance, features, things like that, guys. Now you've gone out, you found all your speakers that you want, you found the speaker wire that you need, you got a good receiver, maybe even an external amplifier. But you can't cheap out on the television itself. If you're getting a TV or projector, you have to make that decision. If your room permits projector, maybe think about getting a projector because it helps with the immersion. The bigger the screen, the more realistic that feeling is going to feel. If you're stuck with a TV, maybe wall mount it if you can, or get a nice little stand, get a 55, 65, whatever you want to do, but you can't cheap out on the television. My little saying is, your picture has to look as good as your sound sounds. And what I mean by that is you may have a banging sound system, you have the best speakers, the best receiver, a full Dolby Atmos DTS-X Aura 3D setup in your room, and then you have a terrible 720p TV or a 1080p TV. No offense to those who are still using the 1080p TVs out there. But you may not have a TV that looks as good as your audio sounds. You kind of want to match the two together because, again, your picture is going to help you with the immersion. When you're watching that movie, you want it to look realistic. In a dark scene, you want to be able to see what that character sees. If there's a monster coming in the background in the dark and the character can see it, you want to be able to see it too. Or you're going to be looking at the TV like, what do you look? I can't see anything, And so you may be able to hear the effects and feel the rumble, but you can't see what's going on, and it kind of takes you away from the immersion. So when you're out there picking your speakers and your receivers and your external amplifiers, make sure you put a good budget in for the television or the projector. Projectors do run not as expensive as TVs unless you're getting up to the 4K projectors, then they kind of get expensive. But I think projectors are actually cheaper than pretty good TVs nowadays. I have an LG C7 from 2017 that cost me about, I don't know, maybe $2,000 or so when I got it. And you can find a pretty good 4K projector for at or lower than that. Of course, you still need a screen and things like that, so it may even out the cost, but you can get 120 inches of projector versus maybe 60, 65, 75, 82 inches of screen from your TV. So maybe put in a good budget. Think about what TV you want to get, what projector you want to get, and make sure you save money for that, because that's super important as well. Now we've already got the receiver, we got the TV, we got the external amplifier, the speakers are all set up. Now we got the decor. We have to do the decor. You can't cheap out on the decor either. Bring some life to your room. Add a theme. If you want to make it a whole movie theater feel, add a popcorn machine here, add some movie posters there, add some ambient lighting around the room. That'll really make your room come to life. I know that most of the time people are going to be watching the movies in the dark, but it's also nice, when the lights are on, to be able to have some aesthetics around the room that really make the room feel inviting. Also, decor just adds your own personality to it, your own spin, and it really makes you look around and like, yeah, I like this room. Most people have like a man cave or some kind of cave of their own where they like to come down here and kind of relax and kind of chill. Make that room a special room. That room is a special room, a dedicated room. If it's a living room, then maybe you can't go crazy with, foam panels and acoustic property and all the other stuff. But you can add some nice plants, some greenery around the room, add a frame or two of the family if you have one. Just bring that room to life. You definitely want to add some character to it, because every time you walk into that room, you're going to be there thinking, this room is either amazing or this room sucks. So add some character to bring in everything together. And if you're ever going to have any friends, family, any kind of visitors over, it's really going to help them be like, wow, I like this. It's going to help them feel immersed as well. So guys, think about the decor. Don't forget that. Now my last tip that you guys should think about when starting off your home theater is the seats. How often are you going to be in this room? Is this your living room? Is this a dedicated room, maybe in the basement? Is it a spare bedroom? What kind of room are you in, and how often are you going to be in there? And if you can deal with just a regular couch in your living room and still be comfortable, then do that. But if you're in, a man cave, or if you have a dedicated basement filled with just home theater equipment and things like that, you may want to get a nice lounge chair, maybe some home theater seats, maybe those big old beanbag chairs that they have nowadays that can fit like 3 people on them. You may want to look into that kind of stuff to really bring in your home theater. If you're going for a cozy look, maybe get that beanbag chair. If you're going for a full-on home theater look, of course you're going to want to look at some home theater seats. If you're in your living room and you're sharing it, with maybe a wife or your kids or maybe your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever you have going on, you may just want to stick with a traditional couch. And for me, I've done that. This is my living room. I didn't want to change my whole living room to look like a home theater. Even though I have a home theater in here, I still wanted to be home and cozy and just a nice place to sit. And I'm in here quite often, so of course I stuck with a regular couch. When I was first building my home theater, I was actually looking at home theater seats too. But then I thought, what am I gonna do whenever I don't wanna watch a movie? When I just wanna relax? Now I have to sit in this home theater chair. I can't lay across the couch, relax, kick up my feet, because I'm in a home theater chair. So I decided to go for couch. And you may wanna do that as well. But when you're out there budgeting and you're looking for a TV, you're looking for receivers and other components to make your home theater come to life, don't forget the seating. If your butt's not comfortable on the seat, you're not gonna like the movie, you're not gonna enjoy the sound, you're not gonna enjoy the music. You're gonna be focused on your butt hurting. You're constantly gonna be twisting and turning and putting your hands under your butt to try to figure out how to get comfortable. So don't cheap out on the seats. Also, if you're gonna have a lot of people in your listening space, you may wanna think about something that's long, something that's big. Maybe a big old sectional couch with the kick-out chair and lawn, all that nice stuff. You might wanna think about something like that. So guys, when you're out there looking for pieces for your home theater and you're looking for that decor, think about the couch as well. It's super important. Alright guys, so that's gonna do it for this video. Just a few tips to think about whenever you're out there looking for your next home theater or you're building a home theater. For those out there who already have a home theater, maybe you don't have all these things already thought about. Maybe you have a 5.1 but you're looking into maybe a 7.2 or a 7.2.4. Keep these things in mind. If you're moving from maybe an apartment or a townhouse to maybe your own house, you're renting or you're about to buy a house and you may want to think about dedicating a home theater, keep these tips in mind. Have the seating ready. Think about the television you're going to get. Are you going to get a projector instead? Keep those tips in mind, because when you plan everything out, you won't only know what you're gonna get and what to look for, but you'll know your budget and how much it's gonna cost, and it's gonna help you find things much quicker, much easier, and won't break your bank. And so guys, that's gonna be my tips for you guys. By the way, before we go, my last video, I'm making a video for you guys right now. I asked all my subscribers and non-subscribers to send me pictures or videos of their home theater that they have right now to this email down below, xboxtube@live.com. Send your pictures, send your videos, and a description of all your components that you're using in your home theater to my email. And soon next week, I'm gonna make a video showcasing all your stuff. I have tons of pictures. I have 11 different people already have submitted. Actually, I got 2 more this morning, so I have 13 different submissions from people who want to show their home theater on my channel. So guys, you have plenty of time to submit whatever you want to submit. I'm gonna do this video probably next week, so you have the rest of this week all through the weekend to submit whatever you want to send to me. Just send about between 4 to 10 pictures of your home theater and then a description of everything I'm looking at. So your receiver, your television, what kind of speakers you have, subwoofers. Send me a small list of all your components and a few pictures to go with it of what you're using in your home theater. And then next week, we're gonna sit down and check out all your home theaters that you guys sent to me. Of course, we always know what I'm using. We always know the speakers that I have, but I'm interested to see what you guys have, because I might actually have to borrow some of your tricks and tactics. So guys, send that to my email. Here it is one more time. Send it to my email, and I can't wait for this video to be made. There's some super freaking amazing home theaters that you guys sent to me, and I can't wait to show it to you guys. So guys, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that video. Hit that like button if you found anything informational on this video today. And leave a comment down below. Are you starting off your home theater? How long have you had a home theater in your home now? And we'll see you guys in the next video. Kpaceguy out. Peace.